Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam, total world victory of Hare Krishna. My name is Sitapati Das. This is Bhagavad-gita 112. If you find this valuable in any way, send it on to a friend or share it on your Facebook profile. Also, give us a like and a comment. Bhagavad-gita 112. Tasya sañjanayan harṣaṁ kuru-vṛddhaḥ pitāmahaḥ siṁha-nādam vinodyoccaiḥ siṁha-nādam vinadyoccaiḥ śaṅkhaṁ dadhmau pratāpa-vān tasya his sañjanayan increasing harṣaṁ cheerfulness kuru-vṛddhaḥ the grandsire of the Kuru dynasty Bhīṣma pitāmahaḥ the grandfather siṁha-nādam roaring sound like that of a lion vinadya vibrating uccaiḥ very loudly śaṅkham conchshell dadhmau blue pratāpa-vān the valiant. Translation. Then Bhīṣma, the great valiant grandsire of the Kuru dynasty, the grandfather of the fighters, blew his conch shell very loudly, making a sound like the roar of a lion, giving Duryodhana joy. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The grandsire of the Kuru dynasty could understand the inner meaning of the heart of his grandson Duryodhana. And out of his natural compassion for him, he tried to cheer him up by blowing his conch shell very loudly, befitting his position as a lion. Indirectly, by the symbolism of the conch shell, he informed his depressed grandson Duryodhana that he had no chance of victory in the battle because the Supreme Lord Kṛṣṇa was on the other side. But still, it was his duty to conduct the fight, and no pains would be spared in that connection. Tasya sañjanayan harṣam kuru-vṛddhaḥ pitāmahaḥ siṁha-nādaṁ vinadyoccaiḥ śaṅkham dadhmau pratāpa-vān. Then Bhīṣma, the great valiant grandsire of the Kuru dynasty, the grandfather of the fighters, blew his conch shell very loudly, making a sound like the roar of a lion, giving Duryodhana joy. Very complex purport here. The grandsire of the Kuru dynasty could understand the inner meaning of the heart of his grandson Duryodhana, and out of his natural compassion for him, he tried to cheer him up by blowing his conch shell very loudly, befitting his position as a lion. Indirectly, by the symbolism of the conch shell, he informed his depressed grandson Duryodhana that he had no chance of victory in the battle because the Supreme Lord Kṛṣṇa was on the other side. But still, it was his duty to conduct the fight, and no pains would be spared in that connection. Duryodhana is depressed. Bhīṣma Dev wants to cheer him up and give him joy. The symbolism of the conch shell lets everyone know that they're going to lose because Kṛṣṇa is on the other side. And the conch is one of the four symbols of Kṛṣṇa, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The conch, the chakra, the lotus, and the conch, the chakra, the lotus. What's the fourth one? The conch, the chakra, the lotus flower. There's a fourth one. The conch, the chakra, the lotus flower, and it'll come to me. Anyway, the conch shell is definitely one of the... There are four hands, four-handed form. I'll remember it as soon as I finish the live. It'll come to me. Drop it in the comments if you know what it is. There's the conch, the lotus flower, the chakra, and one more symbol of Lord Vishnu. So anyway, the symbolism lets them know that they're going to lose. Does Bhīṣma Dev know they're going to lose? I don't know, you know. Is he conscious of what's happening, or is he covered over in the pastime? We have many different layers of consciousness that are accessible in different states of consciousness. In the 11th canto of the Bhagavatam, it describes the club, that's right, gada. Thanks, Mike McNeish, for that. It's the conch, the lotus flower, the chakra, and the gada, the club. 4 states of consciousness. There is waking, sleep, dreaming, deep sleep with no dreaming, and there's a 4th stage of consciousness, turiya. So you go from like deep sleep, unconsciousness, no dreaming, a stage of consciousness of sleeping and dreaming, and then the awakened state, I'm awake. But there's a 4th level of consciousness beyond waking, called turiya, the 4th level of consciousness. When one is in that level of consciousness, one sees oneself as like an observer. The bewildered living entity thinks himself the doer of activities that are in actuality carried out by the 3 modes of material nature. Kartahamiti manyate vimurhatma mithyachara sauchate. How does that one begin? Prakriti kriyamana ni gunai karma ni sarvashaha ahankara vimurhatma mithyachara sauchate. Yeah, he thinks he's the doer of the activities that are carried out by the 3 modes of material nature. When one is enlightened, illuminated, it's not that he stops acting, but he understands that the whole world is a live action role playing. The whole world's a stage and all the men and women are merely players. But most people think, this is real, but this is real. This is not real. There is another stage of wakefulness beyond this. Switches from a first-person video game to a third-person perspective, and you see it. The simulation theory is like, it's a fact. The whole world is just a projection of the 3 modes of material nature. Bhīṣma Dev's on the battlefield. How conscious is he of that? I don't know. In the Purport, Prabhupada says that he's trying to cheer Duryodhana up. It's like, yeah, we're going to lose. But he does his duty anyway. I've been meditating in the last couple of days about tolerance. In Bhagavad-gita, Krishna tells Arjuna, Matra sparshas tu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkada agama paino nityas tams titiksha bharata. The coming and going of, happiness and distress, the appearance and disappearance, like the coming and going of the winter and summer seasons, they arise from sense perception, a sign of Bharat, and one must learn to tolerate them. Later in the Gita, in the 18th chapter, he will tell Arjuna that tolerance, purity, austerity, self-control, these are the qualities by which the Brahmanas work. Tolerance is one of those qualities. Tolerance is not one of the qualities of the Kshatriyas, however. Kshatriyas work by the qualities of heroism, power, courage, determination, resourcefulness, generosity, and leadership. Tolerance is not in there. A Kshatriya cannot be tolerant of irreligion, for example. If he's tolerant of that, that's a code word for cowardice. If you leave the battlefield, Arjuna, people speak ill of you. I'll call you a coward. They'll say you left the battlefield out of cowardice. And they'll be right, because for a Kshatriya to abandon his duty is cowardice. So Bhīṣma Dev's on the battlefield, he has to fight. Doesn't matter what he thinks about it now. Now it's just got to do his duty. So we find ourselves in that situation. Don't second guess yourself. You're on the battlefield where you are. Once you figure out which side you've been placed on, and you know what your duty is, you just execute it. Bhīṣma Dev's on one side, he's got to execute his duty no matter what. Arjuna's on the other side, he's got to execute his duty no matter what. They're both devotees. They both find themselves on different sides of the field, and then they just have to take actions consistent with that. And it's fully human to have a breakdown and go, I doubt myself, Maybe I should just be tolerant. Maybe I should tolerate. Maybe I should just leave the field. Maybe I should give up. Arjuna has the same kind of thoughts. But you just got to do your duty no matter what. Leave the results up to Krishna. Actions are up to us. Consequences are up to Krishna. That's what Krishna will explain to Arjuna. You have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you're not entitled to the results, and never be attached to not doing your duty. So this is the lesson that will come out of this. But at this point, Bhīṣma Dev's blowing his conch shell. He's like, yep, we're going to do the thing, man. I'm here. We're doing it. And we're going to hear more about conch shells, Krishna consciousness. If there's one thing I learned from reading Bhagavad-gita, it's that everyone who is anyone has a conch shell. Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam, total world victory of Hare Krishna.